Hey everyone, we're making soap today, not resin. I just want to be clear about that. It's not clickbait. We are using resin designs and techniques, but in soap and using 100% glycerin soap. I am using Premium Crystal Clear from Wholesale Supplies Plus, Crafter's Choice, which is my usual for anything that's an art soap, anything I want a lot of clarity on. I've been watching the resin artists on YouTube, the many amazing resin artists, and have been inspired to try some of these. And then I saw our friend Kira from the soap groups post some as well, and hers were gorgeous. So I just thought, okay, well, now I have to try. So this is what we're doing. And all I'm doing here is pouring the first layer. The one on the right is going to be one technique. The one on the left is another. I know I'm kind of crazy for doing both at once, but they have similar steps to them. So I thought I'd just lump it together. So this one, as you see, I'm taking the saran wrap and I am placing it down onto, that's about half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of soap. Yes, it's still hot. It's not hot enough to melt the saran wrap. And all I'm trying to do at this stage is get the saran wrap down on the soap without bubbles, and then give it a little bit of a wrinkle. The effect that comes out after when I pull that off is so cool. Just that alone was really neat and fun to play with. And now that the soap on the right side has solidified, obviously, I edited a lot of this. You're not going to watch every little tiny detail because you'd be really bored. And I'm just dropping pretty hot soap, clear soap, onto about a 3/4 inch base there. The base is completely set up, and the soap I'm dotting on with a little pipette is pretty hot. I'd say about 135 is my guess. And there are a couple tricks to using soap in a pipette. One of them is to not let air suck back up into it as you're allowing the little drops to come out. You have to keep the pressure even. If you allow your the grip to loosen and you bring air into it, you're going to get air bubbles and it's going to be harder to control. So that's the main thing. And then just to keep it going kind of fast so it doesn't set up inside your pipette. And now that side, obviously it took a lot longer for that to set up. But now that it's set up, I'm taking off the saran wrap and voila, it is so cool. So many ideas just even seeing this alone. So I'm so excited to play further with these techniques. But now I'm brushing on mica. I'm going kind of light on it. You have to cover every little bit, every nook and cranny. It's got to be really well covered, or you're going to see that in the end product when it's not. And another important factor is they recommend, I don't know how important it is, but they recommend you use duochrome colors or sometimes called chameleon colors. Obviously, you have to make sure that they are soap and skin safe. And this first one I'm dusting in is Magic Beans from Mad Mica, and it is definitely soap safe and skin safe. The next colors, all of these next colors are from TKB Trading, and I do not know the names of them, but I will put them in my description. And I'll put a link to the main website or the page with the duochrome colors on them. They're beautiful. They're really lovely. And I think it has something to do with the way the light picks up the different colors that helps the effect of the look we're going for, which this look here that I'm painting on now, I've seen it mostly referred to as crushed velvet, but I've also seen it as crushed satin, or there is a chiffon look they're doing, but when they do that, they're actually putting chiffon into the resin, which obviously we're not going to do that with soap. There's a lot of different looks they go for with the look of fabric or the use of fabric in resin, and we obviously are kind of limited with that. But this technique, it does give you I think it gives you the look of crushed velvet. I love the way this one came out. And I'm putting 3 colors in. I'm using the little lines I have on the side as guidelines, so I know where my bars are going to be cut. So I don't have one bar that's all one shade of brown. The browns have green in them. They reflect green. They reflect red. The yellow reflects green as well. It's kind of a golden yellow mix. And then in this one, the raindrop effect, you may or may have not seen in resin. It's gorgeous. It's a really cool 3D effect. And I'm going with, I tried to go with all watery type colors, but it didn't work because I didn't have enough of the duochrome colors and shades to go with. So it's kind of rainbow. I have one that's a blue that also shimmers a little bit of purple, and a pink that shines a yellow, and then I think pretty much a yellow that shimmers a green. I'm not positive on all that. We'll see at the end what they look like. And I will, again, I'll put links in there so you can see them for yourself. They're beautiful colors, though. And it looks right now, the one that's clear, the raindrop, looks like you're not going to be able to see much of anything when you see what I'm about to do. But trust me, it does work. I don't, well, I'll list the fragrances. This one was one called Coastal, and I wasn't really thrilled with it at first. But because I was going for kind of an ozone-ish, ozonic type of, watery theme. And it was great when I first gave it a little light sniff, but then it was really too strong when I started stirring it into the soap. So I only added a tiny drop to the second layer, and it balanced it out pretty nicely and smelled actually not kind of more like I wanted it to. So just, always approach your fragrances with caution, not only for the IFRA regulations and skin safety, but also for the outcome of your product. You don't want something that smells so bad because you use too much fragrance oil, or hurt somebody's skin. Obviously, that's more important. All right, all I'm putting in this is activated charcoal. Yes, it is dispersed in glycerin. That's the way I do it. And it has, it works quite well. If you're, there's more activated charcoal than there is glycerin. And I do want it to get to a completely opaque black. You don't want to let the light through the back in this one. You see I'm pouring very thin layer. That's because it's quite hot. I don't want to melt my little bubbles, my little raindrops, but I want it to stick. Make sure you dust off any excess mica before you do that pour, because you don't want the layers to split. And if you have too much mica, it could do that. And the same thing with, that's another reason to go lightly with the mica is you can't spritz it with alcohol. It is textured, so that does help it grip to the layer, but if you spritz it with alcohol, you're going to ruin the look. You're going to ruin the effect. Most of the mica will then disperse into the backing. And yes, the black part here, this will be the back. When we unmold these, the bottom is going to be the front. And gosh, it's such a cool effect. I've done many upside down soaps like this, but this one was really fun because it just covers up the whole process and you don't really see what it's going to look like till you unmold it. And I'm ready to unmold it. So, these are fun. Yeah, crossing my fingers because I was really hoping this would turn out and the mica hadn't just muddied all over the place. But there we go. Looks really cool. It looks even cooler close up. You'll see better images. Well, there I sprayed it. And again, I'm spraying that to enhance the clarity so you can see through the camera what it really looks like. In some of my pictures, I live in Florida, so it's very humid. And not only do you have to worry about glycerin dew, but also if it's really warm, things will just fog up sometimes. So I always want to spray before I'm taking pictures or video. And in some of the pictures, I didn't even notice it was already starting to fog up. So you see a couple little weird spots, and that's what that is, little kind of foggy spots. This one, I love it. And I'll wait till it pops out to show you. Here we go. I love it, but as you can see, there's at some angles, some of the black is visible. It's really strange because at other angles you can't see it at all. So I kind of think that the particle size of the mica I was using is part of that. I think you'll see as you see close-ups of the pictures at the very end, how big the particle size is. You can kind of see each particle. It's almost like a very fine glitter, which is absolutely gorgeous in melt and pour soap. But I think with this project, if I try, when I try this again, because I'm dying to already, that I would use along with this maybe some finer particle micas to make sure every nook and cranny is really filled in well. It's strange because it really reflects the light at some angles and some just not. So I'm cutting here. I'm not the best at cutting by hand. I love my Uncle Andy's, but that doesn't work with this type of soap. But I do love doing this type of soap. You saw it was a little difficult to get that saran wrap down in there, but it's just a great way to try a new design. You get 3 bars. You get to control the thickness. And I think it's a large bar size, but I think it's perfect for the types of soap I make. And it gives you more control than trying to do a full loaf soap. The little rectangles we have, at least the ones I have, the little very basic and popular pink rectangle mold, they're a little small for me. For an art soap, if I'm going to be doing a piece of art, I want it to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more impactful. I do make some mini art soaps as well, but I just love these big chunky bars. Before I forget, I wanted to mention that I poured the black soap, the activated charcoal soap, at about 130. Normally I would pour at 133, but I was just a little gun shy about it melting the little raindrops, and it seemed to work. Their layers seemed to be adhering quite fine. And now I'm just doing the bevel. I'm into that bevel now. I'm kind of stuck to it. I'm sure there's going to be some soaps like the stained glass ones I recently released. I didn't want to do the beveling on that one, but these really definitely begged for it, at least on the front panel. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the back and sides yet. I may or may not. The back is a little bit wonky, so I have to do something to it. Just because my pour was a little sloppy. I poured along the walls, so it got some little strands. You'll kind of see me pulling at these, and that's what I'm doing, the little strands, pulling them off. So I'll probably do at least a light, right there, at least a light beveling on the back, which means I'll probably just bevel the whole thing. But anyway, this is what they look like up close and beveled. This was really a fun experiment for me. It really, I didn't consider it an experiment just because I knew Kira proved that it could be done in soap, but more just a testing for me to see how this technique works in soap. And I did watch a ton of resin videos before, and hopefully, at least got the main process and theory behind it. So I'm definitely not a resin expert. I've never done anything with resin. Maybe someday I will. I'm getting ready to show you some of the pictures from my light box. And as I do that, I want you to take a look at the see if you can detect the large particle size in the raindrop one. I think it's pretty obvious as they kind of as you zoom in. Not so much in this one, although a little bit. You can kind of see it a little bit. It's not as obvious to me as in the raindrop soap. I really hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you plan to come back because I am going to try both of these techniques again, playing around with different micas. I kind of want to push the boundaries and see if you can use interference micas as well as duochrome, because I have more of those. And I just want to see what they do. The black background is supposed to be really key to this as well. So definitely use a black or at least a dark background. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm hoping to help you become a better soap maker. Thank you so much. Bye.